Robert in Dulwich, good afternoon.
Hello, mate. If I may very briefly explain my background, because it is pertinent. I grew up near that part of the world. I grew up on an island, or half of one of the islands, called Haiti.
Yep.
And we lived under a dictator who was president for life. He just declared it, his father declared it one life, and it got passed on to his son. Funny that. What I would say is, having had the privilege of living under a dictator, and that might sound strange, but it means that I recognise warning signs, which is why I'm so concerned about the UK. But I recognise warning signs when they're coming, and I know what pain it causes to the people. And I watch around the world today as Venezuelans all over the world are dancing in the streets, all over the world. And I look at the so-called international law situation that Western pundits are all pushing, the people who don't like Trump, really, let's be honest. Yeah. And it's the same international law that saw Venezuelans' standard of living, we saw their GDP contract 70% in 10 years. It's the same international law that allowed the man to just ignore an election. It's the same international law that allows him to take basically lots of money from the Chinese to sell his oil to them. It's the same international law that allows extrajudicial murder, torture, rape, citizens disappearing. It's the same international law that's allowed a country that was once rich to only have teaching for 2 days a week. So whilst the Venezuelan people are up, you know what they're doing in Venezuela? They're doing the Trump dance, the YMCA dance. And then I listen to Western leaders quoting international law at me. I think, you people, you're gone. They're actually gone. They don't know they're gone yet. The world doesn't care about that anymore. Now, to your point, is it imperialism? Yes, it is, but it's not imperialism in the way that it's been done before. Because what did he do, Trump? He went in and he captured the man, and he'd already put him in front of a court. Now, let's be honest, we have Trump derangement syndrome across the Western countries. The Asians love him. The Middle East love him. Many South American countries like him. A lot of people in America like him. But in the Western Hemisphere, in Europe particularly, we hate him because our media has programmed everyone to hate him. And here's the thing. Why it's different this time is because he didn't kill the bloke, just blow him up, and then have a ground, CIA people on the ground. Well, they probably are on the ground, but they didn't do a colour revolution. He's taken him, he's put him in a law court, and he's announced there'll be a transition period. Now, isn't it funny? When they killed Soleimani, Jeremy Corbyn, who represents a lot of the nuttiness in Europe, let's be honest, he does, he said, it's a shame we killed Soleimani. 1/3 of the Middle East was dancing the next day, right? Because that man was a genuine monster, right? What did he say, Corbyn? We should have killed him. We should have put him in front of a court. Trump goes to put the guy in front of a court, and we're still attacking him. The truth is, right, that if Trump goes ahead and takes the guy to court, he ends up in prison for narco-terrorism and all the rest of it. Be interesting to see what deals he's been doing with China. That'll be very interesting to read about.
Well, we know what deals he's been doing with China. I mean, China gave $60 billion, as we understand it, in loans to them for oil, which continued for many, many years. I'm not sure what the extent of that relationship now is, because China was also getting a bit fed up with all the corruption and everything else. But China gave loans for oil, and Russia's got a relationship with Venezuela as well.
Yeah, and has he been funding NGOs in America that basically are working against the government and the president? Look, there's a lot of... When you've got that kind of money sloshing around, and you've got people who are, against the country, against America, there's obviously lots of backroom deals that are going to come out of this. But what I would say to you is, it's imperialism, but it's not in the same way, because, if he puts in place the transition period, and they have another election, or... how about they just put in the person who actually won it, right?
Yeah, but he said that she's totally incredible and doesn't have the support within the country. Maria Corina Machado.
Yeah, and then what was it? Who was it? Eduardo Gonzalez? I think he actually won the election.
Yeah, Eduardo Gonzalez was from her party.
But so why don't we have another election?
Yeah, but he wants the current person who's been appointed deputy president to be the puppet to do it. I mean, she's sort of fighting back, Delcy Rodriguez, as I understand it. But we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes. But Robert, how can one defend in any way an extraterritorial adventure like this, despite it being in America's interest, and my position. My position is none of this is new. This is not an aberration from the norm. It is very much the norm. It's just that Trump does it very openly and in your face. It's nothing new at all, and it's no surprise. Exactly, and it's no surprise to me. I mean, it's no different to what happened to Noriega under H.W. Bush. It's exactly the same kind of thing. Where does this leave the world in terms of imperialism now being seen to be a free-for-all? I mean, it always has, in my view, but just totally in your face.
Look, my answer to that would be, and you said it earlier, it's always been the case that this happened. It's just that before they hid behind the United Nations and international law. But at the end of the day, the world, for many billions of people around the world, they live in abject poverty, and they do it under the auspices of the UN and all these NGOs and government organisations. The truth is that in the end, it's down to this, Ali, and this is more important than multilateral frameworks and lawyers making lots of money. It's about being decent to people. If Trump puts the oil industry to work to make Venezuelans rich again and have schooling and have education, universities, and get them working on their own oil rigs, right? Because what Trump wants, and I believe this, he believes that capitalism is the route to freedom.
But Robert, fine, it might be the route to freedom. All I would say is that I'm not sure it's driven by a benign worldview to try and make the lives of the Venezuelans better than they were. I mean, if that happens as a product. That happens as a product. I need to move on, Robert. But if that happens as a product, fine. But that is not the main motivator. The main motivator is to get Russia and China out of his backyard sphere of influence, to focus on oil. And if there's a happy coincidence that it might lead to a better government for the Venezuelans, so be it. But that's not the main motivator. Robert, thank you. Ayo in Wallington. Ayo.
Hello, Ali. Hi.